Okay, let's add some wings. So we're going to start with the front of the car. We have to turn on our regulations and our blocks just so we can get an idea of what room we've got to work in. As I said before, when I added this fillet, it's shortened up that front of the car a lot. So hopefully we'll squeeze one in there still, but it might be tight. So again, I'm going to start with the template just so I know what region I can build my wing in, and then I can then I'll create another sort of template for how big the wing has to be. So we'll create a sketch. It'll be in that right hand plane again. And first thing I do, rectangle, we'll turn it onto a construction. Okay. And I don't want to lock to anything at this point. I just want to create a rectangle roughly here. So what are some of our restrictions? We've got a clear airspace of 3 millimeters all the way around our front wing. Okay, so distance from the bottom of the line to the road, the track surface is going to be 3 mil. So I can't build it below that line there. It can't be, I'll use the coincident tool, it can't be any longer than the front of the cut from that 210 mil line. So I can't build my front wing in front of this line here. We have to have that 3 mil exclusion zone to the wheel. So this is going to be 16.5 plus 3. So I don't want to build my wing behind this line here. It's sort of tricky with the that 170 millimeter line, but it's what I'd say. You could argue that if you've got your wing a lot lower, then you could bring it in a bit tighter, but just as a rule of thumb. And we also can't build our wing any higher than 15 mil off the track surface. So from the track to the top of this line is going to be 15 mil. So you can see we don't have a lot of space to build our wing within. This is sort of it here. The other thing to keep in mind, so this is the area which I've got to build the wing. So I guess it's quite a lot through here. I want to try and keep it on the car. I don't want it to come out the front of the car, but so it would be nice to have a bit more room to work with. But that's what I've got, and it's one of those things I can always go back and change this. So I could go back to my original body sketch, and I could make this a little bit longer. So when that fillet comes on, it doesn't come back quite as far. I could reduce the size of that fillet as well. Would be another solution to give myself a bit more room to work with. So let's maybe do that. So I've got a tiny bit of extra room. So instead of 3 mil at that point, I'm going to bring that back to 2. Just so it's a little bit more streamlined. There's been an error along the line with a fillet. Just delete that one out. That would have been this one here. So now I can no longer create that fillet. Okay, let's get back into my sketch. So I'm just going to put a rectangle in, just up the top here. 15 mil is the minimum chord, so it has to be at least 15 mil long, and the height, if it's made out of balsa wood, has to be 3.5 millimeters. If you're 3D printing it, making it out of another material, 1.5. So it has to be at least this size. This shape has to at least fit inside of your wing profile. So there's nothing to stop you from doing something like make it come up higher at the back. It can't be any higher than 9 mil, and it could be this sort of length, and then you could create an arc or line which sort of joins those together, something like that. So you could have that as your wing profile because this fits within it. So that might be worthwhile having as a construction line, and then you can drop that onto your wing somewhere. I can fit my wing here, my front wing in this space. I don't really want it to be a rectangle, but I know that it fits. So there's a lot going on now with all these lines. I might turn off the block and regulations. So I'm just going to leave that floating. It doesn't have to be exactly where I need it. Now, in this case, I don't have heaps of room, so I'm just going to create my front wing using a slot tool, center to center slot, and I'm going to keep it from here to here, and I'll make it forward. So again, a little bit of tolerancing, make it a bit thicker than I need it to be. You already see I've gone off the back, so I'm just going to drag that forwards. That should work well. All right, so I'm going to finish that sketch. I can see that it should be a legal wing, and it sits within a legal height, and I can extrude this profile. So we'll go symmetrical. The maximum size I can go will be a total length of 65. Keep in mind, this only has to be 17, so from probably about this point here to the end would be 17 mil if it's made out of balsa, which is in my case. So this is a thing I can always come back and change. Usually I try to make it the width of the wheels, so when I pop the wheels on I can have another look. Try and knock up. So 60 is probably a good starting point, and I can always come back and change it. Again, I can add some fillets to this edge here, so we can fillet it up. 3 mil on there. Let's see if we can get this one back on. Nope. So that's the reason why this one dropped off when I resized that nose. Let's put an issue down here. It's very tight around this part of the vehicle to put that fillet on. I'll just leave it. As I said, when this gets machined, it will actually put a 3 mil fillet on that edge anyway. So, all right. So here's my front wing. I'm going to do a very, very similar process for my rear wing in the next video.